Hi folks, Sam Haymar for Test Driven TV. Today we're at the 2014 Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale Collector Car Auction. We're going to look at some of the more bizarre and interesting vehicles that are on the block this year. After all, this place isn't all about 57 Chevys and Plymouth Barracudas with a six-pack. So we're going to look at some of these cars. Some of these cars are made by companies and other individuals that are just creative and wanted to make something special to please a crowd. Other times we've got cars that were made by startup companies that really never went anywhere. And of course, there's always the creative artist that was on LSD and decided to build a car. Some of these cars sell for big money and some don't. So let's have a look.
Powell Crosley Jr. built radios and refrigerators. In 1939, he built his first car and sold it for $250. 1950 was the first year for the Hot Shot, and 1952 was the last year for production of Crosley automobiles. It's a very well-optioned car for its time with a radio, heater, ashtrays, a top, and doors. The Jeep FC-150 always makes an appearance at Barrett-Jackson, a bit of a novelty that looks scary to drive by modern standards. This one is completely restored with a made-for-the-auction block 1950s correct Coca-Cola theme with logos and a cooler in the rear. One of BMW's first ultimate driving machines, this well-restored 1957 Isetta convertible shows off all the wild excess of the 1950s. With an air-cooled motorcycle engine under the seat and front opening door, it remains one of the most unique cars we see at Barrett-Jackson. This example is virtually perfect mechanically and cosmetically. Its 13 horsepower single-cylinder engine and 4-speed manual transmission are said to run great, and it's ready to drive. While the Fiat 500L just went on sale in America this year, many forget it's not the first time. This 1968 Fiat 500L was brought to California in the mid-1980s, where it was restored and used as a daily driver in San Francisco regularly ever since. Well maintained and presented, it's cuter by far than the new one. Have you ever owned a Cadillac Seville and thought to yourself, this would be so dope with a hot rod Ford V8 under the hood? Well, someone did, and this is what it looks like. Its sales price shows that the market is still pretty narrow for this, however. Ford-a-lac. Groovy. Vintage Japanese cars are slowly showing up at Barrett-Jackson. An interesting example is this mildly restored 1969 Toyota Corona GT sedan. With an original interior, a tidy engine compartment, and one repaint since new, this two-owner car showed well. The owner added a luggage rack and period-theme accoutrements to make it cute. It had non-period alloy wheels, which may have hurt its sale price. With the tragic death of actor Paul Walker last year, the actual Mitsubishi Evo from Too Fast, Too Furious he drove crossed the block here at Barrett-Jackson. This was the car used for close-up detail shots and has under 900 original miles. The car is a Japanese spec Evolution 7, which was imported into the United States for filming of the movie. The appearance of this car coincided with the launch of the US spec 2003 Mitsubishi Evo. The fiberglass-bodied Avanti made by Studebaker has a long and checkered history, a car that was underappreciated in its time. Styled by the famous design studio of Raymond Loewy, its look is stunningly unique. This car featured a matching numbers 289 V8 engine and automatic transmission with 42,000 original miles. It has power steering, power brakes, and power windows, and mostly original with the exception of new paint and carpet. The Goggomobil TS-250 Coupe was made in Germany by automaker Glass. Believe it or not, some 66,000 of these were built, but few imported to the United States. This microcar was restored and able to be driven on short outings or to local car shows. Its two-cylinder engine with 4-speed manual transmission is capable of speeds up to 60 miles per hour. It's a unique find at Barrett-Jackson and sold for a decent sum despite its small size. The Messerschmitt KR-200 was built by the German fighter plane company of the same name after World War II. Believe it or not, these cars actually set speed records for microcars in their time, reaching as much as 65 miles per hour. This restored example had a clear, clean bubble top and excellent interior. Its mechanicals were solid and it sold accordingly. This cute and fun 1967 King Midget is a fully restored example in concours condition. For safe and enjoyable driving in today's conditions, it's been upgraded to a modern 18 horsepower Briggs & Stratton V-twin engine with a single-speed drive through a centrifugal clutch. It also has four-wheel hydraulic brakes. Of all the bizarre and obscure at this year's Barrett-Jackson event, Tomater was the kids' favorite. Built to exact specifications of the character Tomater in the Cars animated movie, this truck was built from parts of 3 separate vehicles from around the country. It was decidedly the most fun of this year's event.
Well folks, I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. That wraps it up for Barrett-Jackson 2014. Thank you for joining us.